One.
Okay, what is up, Enclave? I'm going to do another walkthrough for you. And again, we have Baby Jace's viewpoint. This fight I was asleep for, so I woke up. I asked Jace if he had a video I could use, and this is what we've got. This guy's name is Kargath Bladefist. He's the first boss in the Heimal raid. And I'm just going to show you the kill attempt because there's not much going on in this fight. This fight's like incredibly easy. If you notice, there's really only two mechanics that happen, or three mechanics that happen throughout the entire fight other than the tank swap. There's four skulls, one here, one here, one here, one here, at the cardinal directions around the boss. The boss should be tanked in the middle. Those skulls will occasionally pop up and start emanating fire. Yeah, that's it. They hit for like 40% of your life per tick or 30% of your life per tick. Move out of them. If the skull's not popped up, you don't have to worry about it. There are tiger pits. I believe there's 4 located around the room at the diagonal corners. If you fall into the tiger pit, you instantly die. They don't do anything. They don't jump out. They don't have to be tanked. They just are there, and if you fall into them, you die. This fight is basically rating 101. It's saying, hey, if there's fire on the ground, don't stand in it. If it looks like it's bad, don't stand in it. Other than that, there's not much going on, but we'll watch the rest of the fight and see a few more mechanics. See, he's randomly choosing a target and hitting them with a shadow clone of himself. It's hitting for literally nothing, maybe 10% of your life, which is instantly healed up. I'm not even sure if it's hitting for that much. Okay, so let's go back just a second. I'm going to go back a little bit farther than that, actually. Watch this skull over here. It's going to telegraph. Pops up. You have plenty of time to get away. Like multiple seconds to get away. So if you get hit by that, I don't know what to tell you. Don't do that. Don't go to the tiger pit. Okay. So he chooses a random target, and then he starts cleaving to them. That's really the only other thing that can get you. The cleave is not a one-shot, obviously. That would be impossible. But it may be a 2 or 3 shot. So as a melee, you need to be aware that, hey, he's cleaving, and you need to get out of the way. And as a range, he's coming to you. So you guys don't want to be in a stacked position. You want to be kind of spread out so that when he does decide to charge somebody, you're not all getting cleaved in the process. He's going to impale the tanks. The more impales you take, the worse impale gets. So that's kind of the softened rage, is that the tanks are just going to get wiped out eventually because the impale will get too high. But yeah, you just want to taunt after every impale to keep the impale debuff equal. Then he starts doing a whirling thing right here, and I want to talk about that for a second. So whenever he whirls like that, basically the 5 closest players to him are going to get launched up into the arena, or up into the crowd. One of the tanks should obviously be the closest person. One of the other tanks should probably not be the closest person, because somebody's got to stay down to tank the boss. And at this point, you head up into the arena. Now, these iron bombers have been throwing bombs into the arena throughout the fight that just blow up on people and do random damage. Over time, more and more people join the crowd. So if you don't go up into the crowd and kill the bombers, the grunts, and this giant fellow here, you are going to eventually get overwhelmed. So part of the mechanic is knowing who to send up. Really, it could be anybody, but it needs to be one of the tanks, probably 1 healer, 2 range and a melee, or 3 melee will work fine too. But the grunts don't do anything. They just melee the people up here. The bombers will actually drop a bomb when they die that you gotta avoid. And I think there's one other ad up here that does something. We'll see him later on in the poll, I think. But yeah, this DK did a good job of just pulling everything to the tank. I don't think a tank even went up with him. He just kind of went blood presence or whatever, and he stayed unholy presence, and he's good. But yeah, you just pulling as many things as you possibly can, because the more you pull, the less shit people downstairs have to deal with. But again, it's not that big of a deal. And one of the things I noticed is that when you're up there in the crowd, if you get to a certain life amount, you'll automatically get knocked down. So like, it's really hard to die up there, because if you get knocked to like 25%, he'll just automatically knock you down to the bottom. So that's pretty much how you get knocked down. There's like a 15-second debuff or 20-second debuff. Once it wears off, you fall off. Or if your life gets to a certain point and it's low, it will also do that. Now the other thing you saw was the that's the other ogre we didn't get to talk about upstairs. It's called a mauling ogre, I think, and he's a drunkard. So if you don't kill him, he'll throw the poison shit on the ground that won't dissipate. So those guys are probably priority number one when you're up there. Kill the biggest ogres, the drunkards, then kill the bombers, then kill the grunts, because the grunts don't do anything. They're just fodder for you to attack up there. And that's really all the mechanics to the fight. There's an impale tank swap. Don't fall into the tiger pits. Don't stand on the skull. Range need to spread out so that when he cleaves, you all don't get cleaved down. Don't stand in poison. Whenever he does the spinning thing, which he's about to do right now, the 5 closest players go up, kill as many ads as they possibly can in a time period, and then they come back down. And my phone just went off. That's nice. But that's really the fight. Yeah, you see he's targeting the Drunken Bileslinger first. There's a couple of iron bombers that are going off. Notice they drop bombs. They have timers on them. They pop for about 30% of your life. And you just want to pull as many things as you possibly can so that the people downstairs have less to deal with. That's the mechanic. Honestly, if this isn't a 1 or 2... See, he got too low life and it pulled him down. Yeah, if this isn't a 1 or 2 shot on live, then we're doing something wrong, because there's nothing going on in this fight that you need to be concerned with at all. Just avoid the fire, kill the boss. Now, I noticed that they wanted to get a couple attempts in with some more players in their guild, so I think they get them pretty low, and then they just decide they want to, test the tiger pit because they wanted to get a couple other players in to take a look at it. But that's the fight, guys. There's nothing to worry about in this fight. We'll kill it really quick. I want to stick around so you guys can see what happens when you hop in the tiger pit. Instant death. Alright guys, we'll see you next time. Another boss down.